of
I've
gender?
never been that invested in the idea of gender, and it actually touches me about society that so much effort is put into the idea of encouraging people to
Trying to define themselves.
define themselves and stick. You're a boy, you'll be a man.
Right.
You're a girl, you'll be a woman. It's a wonderful superpower to
Yes.
feel fluid.
Right. Hi Vogue, this is Leslie. I'm here at the Taipei Performing Arts Center, joined by one of the greatest performers of our time, Tilda Swinton. Tilda, it's such an honor to have you here with us.
Hello, Vogue Taiwan. I'm so happy to be here.
You have a very diverse and multifaceted career that spans live performance, film, art, fashion, and more. What is the common thread that connects these roles and projects?
It's the people that I work with. I had the great blessing to start making work as a practitioner with a group of artists who were a collective and were all multidisciplinary. So Derek Jarman was a great filmmaker. We made, I think, 7 films together. And he was a painter, he was a gardener, he was a poet, he was a writer. All of us who worked with him were encouraged to see ourselves as filmmakers and as artists, to feel absolutely free to make work. And I've happily never lost it.
You spoke of Derek Jarman. You've worked with so many visionary directors, including him and Wes Anderson, Luca Guadagnino. How has these creative partnerships shaped your future performances?
They are the reason that I'm making, certainly they're the reason I'm making film work. And when Derek died in '94, I was challenged, because I thought, well, that's it then. I'm not someone with a set of skills who can go and then move on and work with strangers. I need a sense of community around me. And the double blessing was not only to have found Derek originally, but to meet many other people who want to work in this way. So yes, Luca Guadagnino, one of my oldest friends, Jim Jarmusch, Bong Joon-ho, Apichatpong Weerasethakul, Lynn Ramsey, Lynn Hirschman. These are my friends, and anybody who knows the joy of making work with their friends can tell you it's really the best possible scenario. Particularly when you're developing work over many years, and in many cases for me now decades.
Right.
Joanna Hogg, for example, is literally the friend I've had the longest in my life. I met her when I was 10 years old.
Wow.
On the first day of my school. And she and I are now working regularly together.
So it really is about the people.
Yeah,
and
it's
the
about the
community.
people.
Can you pick a particular role or project that holds a special significance in your heart?
Very difficult. It's a
I
little
can
bit like
imagine.
asking somebody for their favorite child.
Right.
But I have to say, because I've thought about this question a lot over the years, it's still Orlando. Orlando was the first film where I had the great privilege of being in every frame of a film, was the protagonist. And it was the first time I was able to develop a film with a filmmaker, with Sally Potter,
Right.
the director, and to be alongside her while the script was being written and while the production was being put together. It's also a very personal story. It was a book that I loved as a 12-year-old, and to make your favorite book from a childhood into a film is quite something. So.
Right. I actually did want to talk about Orlando. I mean, it was released in 1992, and you've explored themes of gender fluidity before it was even in mainstream conversations. I mean, has your perspective or your understanding of gender changed throughout the years or throughout your work?
I wouldn't say my understanding of gender has changed at all. I've never been that invested in the idea of gender. I don't know that the idea of a fixed anything has ever really resonated for me, whether it's, fixed gender or fixed identity of any kind. And it actually touches me about society that so much effort is put into the idea of encouraging people to
trying to define themselves.
Define themselves and stick. That's it. That's what you are. You're a boy, you'll be a man. You're a girl, you'll be a woman. You're brought up in this family, you'll have a family exactly like this.
Right. Or even now with gender non-binary, it's like, okay, you're gender non-binary. It's like you have to put yourself in a box of some sort. Yeah.
And I mean, my personal experience as a human, alien, animal, all of us experience when we're children the concept of boundarylessness. And that's something that some of us are fortunate enough to be able to hang on to. Usually it is because we're surrounded by people who support us and encourage us to feel that free. It's a wonderful superpower to feel fluid.
Right, right. I want to talk a little bit about how you see the role of performance art in contemporary culture. Do you think that it has the power to create social or political change in ways that film may not be able to?
Well, that's an interesting question for me to approach, because I have worked for so much longer over the course of the last 30 years in film. I did start working as a performer, as a live performer, before I discovered cinema. I think the qualities of great performance art and the qualities of great cinema are the same. They call on a kind of attachment, or rather a connection with the audience. Right. So I do believe it's a resonant and a very important force.
And cinema as well, then?
Absolutely. I mean, for me, preeminently cinema. There's something about the magic experience of sitting in the dark in front of a big screen with a lot of strangers and allowing yourself to put yourself in the shoes of the filmmaker who is saying, look at this for this length of time. Now look at this. This is the soundtrack that I'm going to suggest to you. This is such a generous proposal on behalf of the artist, and it's such a wonderful opportunity for the audience, because to put yourself into someone else's shoes is, you know, the ultimate empathy.
Right, it is. And you've often been described as a chameleon in your roles. How do you adapt to these different physicalities and mindsets to embody these characters?
Well, I think of myself as I'm a very unsophisticated performer. I never trained as a performer. I always think that I'm similar level as my children when they were 8 and they used to put on some silly play at the end of our bed to amuse us, and somebody pretended to be a dog and somebody pretended to be an old man. I like working with this guys quite a lot, and I think when we talk about me being a chameleon, that's what we're kind of noticing, that I love dressing up and playing. It's a very playful business for me. The kind of Baroque nonsense that I get up to with Bong Joon-ho is great fun, and I love it.
Well, speaking of dressing up, I mean, you are an inspiration, a muse, and a friend to many fashion creatives. I mean, can you tell us a little bit about the role of fashion in your life and how you define your own style?
The role of fashion in my life is once again entirely predicated on my relationship with certain individuals who happen to be some of the most talented fashion designers in the world. And I'm the lucky one. You know, the fact that Heide Ackermann is my close friend, the fact that Karl Lagerfeld was a friend of mine, the fact that Jonathan Anderson or Phoebe Philo, or they're artists that I truly admire and are inspired by, but they happen to be individuals who I have fun with. And honestly, I'm quite a shy person, and going out in public, especially in the kinds of environments that someone in my position is asked to do occasionally, you know, to stand in front of 6,000 photographers with lenses, it can be quite daunting. And if I'm wearing something that's made by my close friend, then it's a way of being in company.
Right.
So
it's like carrying your friends with you.
Yeah, I've got them
everywhere.
Right there. Yeah.
Well, and finally, as Chanel's arts and culture ambassador, what is your perspective on the brand's mission in this sector?
This is something I'm so proud of, Leslie. I'm so impressed by Chanel for being what it is. It is a house that's so clear. It's not really put on the earth for fashion. It's really put on the earth for culture. And what they are doing with the arts and culture is to commit their resources, and they have, you know, sizable resources. Their commitment with the next prize, for example, which is an extraordinary thing.
And you're on the jury.
I've been on the jury for the last 3 years. I'm extremely proud of what we've been able to do. You know, Chanel are giving every 2 years €1 million to 10 artists. For an emerging artist is a lot of time. Money is time for artists. And so that kind of support is really valuable, and we've been able to support extraordinary artists so far, and I'm already looking forward to the next.
We'll all look forward to that.
Yes, the never-ending artists. There are artists everywhere who will benefit.
Thank you so much, Tilda. It's been such an inspiration.
It's been my honor, Leslie.
Thank you, Vogue. We'll see you next time.
Very much love. Bye-bye.